The next one can be summarised probably as cash is king. Raise as much money as you can when you can, because you don't know when you're going to come back. The thoughts about being prissy about valuation, I think, is just gone. If somebody's offering you money, I don't care how painful it is in terms of the value that they're offering it at, it's cash. And when you've got that cash, if Herman's prepared to write a cheque, I think he knows what he's talking about. I think you should take it from him. The reality is that if investors are there and they're prepared to play, just get it done. Take the money. So that's number 6. In at number 5, top 5 now. What is your end game? Are you really looking to build a major corporation for the future? If you are, let's realise the consequences. You're only going to get there with lots and lots of major M&A. Look at some of the big companies that are out there. All the big companies have been built using M&A on the way through. They have taken what they've got and they've added to it and they've built on it. It also means that for all the CEOs in the room of the early stage companies, you won't be the CEOs on an ongoing basis. I can only think of 3 CEOs that have taken things from the starting point to a major corporation, and they're Branson, Bill Gates and Steve Jobs. So if we're not in that camp, let's recognise that actually management needs to change on the way through. And you've got to help them do that. So you've got to play it that way. If you're going to sell your company, be careful of getting ready for it. Just be conscious of where you're going to go in all of this. I think there's a point that Andy loves talking about, which is the license trap. So you've got this great ology, you've got your deal, you've got your license, now you've got a royalty stream. Well, what's left to buy? It's now just a monetized asset. How do you take it on into the future? One of the things you've got to do if you're going to sell your company is work out who your acquirers might be. Prioritize them. Revise that list. Discuss it at board meetings every 3 months, every 6 months. Start talking to them, to the bankers, to the deal makers. I give credit here to, I don't think I've seen him in the audience, but Thomas Weaver of what was Gene Service. 2 years before that company got sold, I spotted it on a radar screen because guess what? He came round and told me, I'm going to sell the company when it gets round. Not today, but actually being out there talking about selling his business, being out there, getting ready for it. Get your data room ready day one, because it's much easier to get your data room ready on day one and keep dropping things into it so that when that speculative bid might just be there, guess what? You're actually ready to go. In at number 4 is adapt. We talked about it on the way through earlier that you've got to evolve, got to rise to the circumstances. If biotech and biology is anything, it tells you that when you're under stress, you have to adapt to be able to take it. For me, one of the classic examples, and we'll either get hisses or cheers on this one, is Powderjet. Lots of people criticised it because it didn't stick to what it did when it first went out there. It was an interesting technology play sat out of Oxford, and then they bought this funny gold particles drug delivery business in Madison, Wisconsin. It's damn cold out there. They then bought the Mediva vaccines business. Oh, Drayson Turncoat, turning away from biotech. Guess what? He sold the whole lot to Chiron for an absolute shedload, made a bit of money for himself on the way through. Out comes PowderMed, spun out into a private company, and guess what? God's own pharma company, Pfizer, goes and buys it for an absolute shedload. It's about being adaptable. If you don't adapt to the circumstances, you will, as the dinosaurs do, die.